What's a conspiracy you truly believe? It is straight trash. I remember some old inkjet would print a test page of a dense line of bars, and if any of the bars were off-angled, it indicated inconsistency or maintenance required. So fake I was pissed off that they somehow equated printer quality with a very obvious software RNG generated test page and got away with it too. Laser for life. Truly incompetent workers who get hired claiming 15+ years of experience but know nothing about their field are actually just people poorly placed by eyewitness protection. My nemesis, who was our new industrial engineer who zip-tied all the computer speakers to the floor, made me think of this one. XD makes you wonder. Edit. Lots of people concerned about the floor. Yes, the floor had holes, it was a clean room. IIRC, it was actually the cords truly zip-tied to the floor, the speakers were zip-tied to the table's kick plates like 3 in above the floor. My YouTube ads are weird. Enough to make me think I'm part of some undisclosed, unethical social experiment, because Google definitely knows enough about my internet habits to target their ads better. This last week they started advertising monster porn to me, which I didn't even realize was a thing. It's literally novels about humans being fucked by T-Rexes. Like, but have. Before that I was getting ads for super woke online courses such as pay $500 for this 6-week course that will explain why you're a racist cultural appropriator for doing yoga. I mean, who the hell actually would sign up for something like that? YouTube ads are whack. The odds are very strategically stacked against poor people and even the middle class, America, so that we can never get ahead. We are kept in our place to do bullshit jobs and buy bullshit products to keep the ultra-wealthy chugging along. Education is expensive, so we don't think too hard, and the food is cheap and shitty to keep us fat, tired, and low ambition. Propaganda and identity politics keeps us in our own little stupid camps, so we never come together to realize this. Our purpose is to purchase. And it will never change, because for every one person who tries to buy local, learn, and take care of themselves, there are 100 morons who want everything fast and cheap. That subscription models are the new hot thing because it takes all control and leverage away from the consumer, because they no longer buy the product, they borrow it. If you buy a car, you can do whatever you want to it after you purchased it. If you subscribe, aka borrow it, it's either agree to any and all terms provided by the owner or GTFO, end of discussion, no compromise. This isn't a conspiracy, this is just basic economics and finance. A broader way to apply this principle into a conspiracy is the suggestion that large real estate funds and tech companies, e.g. BlackRock and more recently Zillow, are using their massive capital and data capabilities to pave an efficient and profitable entry into massive real estate investments. In other words, buying up residential homes to accumulate as much land and real estate as possible, and then renting those homes back out to people at premiums. thus rapidly driving up the cost of home ownership to a point such that the average person will no longer own a home, but instead rent perpetually. If you have the money, and the data inside to execute effectively, aka risk mitigation, then as a company you can generate profit for eternity by taking in rents with a relatively simple business model, while simultaneously eliminating the mortgage as the middle-class person's most powerful tool for upward mobility and leverage. Another reason subscription-based models are desirable to investors is because they provide great projections of future cash flows for the company. To release and sell a product that people buy, you have no idea how it will be received or how many you will sell. Plus, any given purchase is a one-off with no given guarantee of future income. I made this one up myself, but once you read it, don't tell me it doesn't make sense. You know how for a really long time, China had that one-child policy? And male children are highly sought after, to the point that they were not keeping the pregnancy if it was a female, or they were killing their female children. Well, now it's theorized that 1/3 of Chinese men won't be able to find a wife in China. So they won't make a family. And what can you do with a huge population of unmarried, childless men? Conscript them into the army. Edit. Hey everyone, it's all good, like I said I made this up, don't worry, I doubt China is actually going to take over anytime soon, at least not by ground war. Not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interests. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around a kitchen table to figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it, and now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street, and you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you, sooner or later, 'cause they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged, and nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, it doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means, continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all, at all, at all. And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth, it's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it. George Carlin. But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this, there's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never gonna get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now, the real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying, to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else, but I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're stolen from another Redditor. I believe Sirhan did not kill Bobby Kennedy. /u/the_Budhavers. The Los Angeles coroner Thomas Noguchi, who performed the autopsy of RFK, is not convinced that Sirhan was the killer. Until more is precisely known, the existence of a second gunman remains a possibility. Thus, I have never said that Sirhan killed Robert Kennedy. The autopsy of Kennedy's body suggested that all 4 shots that hit him came from behind, at an upward angle, and powder marks on his skin showed they must have been from close range, but Sirhan was in front of Kennedy, firing horizontally from several feet away, and after shooting 2 shots was overcome by hotel staff who pinned him to a table. Nina Rhodes Hughes, the eyewitness to the RFK shooting, told CNN. What has to come out is that there was another shooter to my right. The truth has got to be told. No more cover UPS. Analysis of the only audio recording of the shooting, which was made by an independent journalist Stanislaw Prusinsk, reveals at least 13 shots over the course of just over 5 seconds. Also, there are 2 pairs of double shots that occurred so close together it is inconceivable that Sirhan could have fired them all. The 3rd and 4th shots and the 7th and 8th were separated by 122 and 149 milliseconds respectively. In tests, a trained firearms expert firing under ideal conditions could only manage 366 milliseconds between shots using the same weapon. And he was not being pinned to a table at the time. Kennedy's autopsy clearly revealed that the senator was hit 4 times and that 5 others at the scene were wounded. If at least 9 shots were fired, one must have been fired by someone other than Sirhan, who was carrying an 8-shot revolver. Bullet holes in a door frame at the crime scene, which are documented in FBI photographs, show that more bullets were fired than could have come from Sirhan's gun. The police never disclosed these bullets, even though their removal by LAPD criminalists was observed by other police personnel. The door frame in question was then destroyed under color of a court order issued immediately after Sirhan's trial without notice to the defense. Paul Schrade, a close associate of Kennedy's who was director of the United Auto Workers Union, was at the senator's side in the pantry and was shot in the head by Sirhan. He believes Sirhan should be granted parole as it was impossible for him to have actually achieved killing RFK. The official record shows that the prosecution at Sirhan's trial never had one witness, and had no physical nor ballistic evidence, to prove Sirhan shot Robert Kennedy. Schrade. Attorneys for Sirhan, William Pepper, and Lori Dusek, also allege fraud was committed at Sirhan's 1969 trial when prosecutors allowed substitute bullets to be admitted as evidence in place of the real bullets removed from Kennedy's neck and shooting survivor Ira Goldstein's hip. There was a fraud on the court with respect to the ballistics evidence. I think this is quite clear. Pepper. Recap: the coroner is not convinced as RFK was shot from behind. One eyewitness claims a second shooter, the other, shot by Sirhan, is convinced Sirhan is innocent. Sirhan's gun had 8 bullets, at least 9 to 13 shots were fired. The only people convinced Sirhan was the lone gunman are the prosecution and the general public who accept the verdict. I invite you to TMBR. Epstein provided a very specific service. He trafficked underage girls for extremely rich people to have sex with in a discreet manner. There are lots of ways for rich people to pay for sex with women legally in a discreet manner. The only reason for people to use Epstein's services was because they were pedophiles who wanted access to children. This alone asks very serious questions about people such as Trump and Prince Andrew, who demonstrably had extremely close ties to Epstein. These guys, however, are certainly the tip of the iceberg. There are probably much richer and powerful people involved here. I think the fact that an independent doctor ruled that Epstein didn't commit suicide is enough to elevate this one above your typical nutter theories. I went to an event in July 2001 when a macroeconomist from Japan told the room that Bush was going to put us into a war to help the economy. Someone asked, with who? The guy said he didn't know, but maybe he would finish what he dad started against Saddam. He said that he studies supply and demand. All of the bomb-making companies had been building bombs like mad and had a ton of inventory. He predicted that we would be dropping bombs for months in areas where there were not a lot of people. Remember when bombs were dropped in the hills of Afghanistan later that year?